I was watching a video of a YouTuber I'm subscribed to, Too Raw for TV. And I often come across these videos like after I have a thought in my head of making a video. That's how I know like I should be more consistent with my videos so this stops happening. But he had a video titled Steph's 2015 and 2022 championship runs are better than any of LeBron's titles. And I wouldn't say as much for the 15 run, given that LeBron was missing like two star players on the other side, which in turn kind of made it like an even matchup. It was just star player versus star player in role players instead of star player versus star player in other all-star. Like it was kind of like a almost even matchup, but that's besides the point. Steph's 2022 championship run is like highly slept on, and I don't understand why. I wouldn't say it's like up there with Hakeem and Dirk, but it's a very underrated championship run for a all-time great. If you look at the cast he had around him, he had a bunch of cast-offs, players that were considered a player that was considered a bust. Two of his teammates that he previously won championships with, Clay and Draymond, were on the other side of it. Clay was coming off if it was like in the 90s, it'd be two career-ending injuries. Like that's usually two career-ending injuries, the ACL and the Achilles. And Clay came back like after the mid-season mark. He came back in January. And he had GP2, who they signed as a free agent because he didn't get picked up. So he was a two-way player that season. Jordan Poole, who previously came out of the G League the season before. His brother-in-law, who else? Juan Toscano Anderson. Like it was a bunch of like role players that he won that championship with. And if you look at who he played on his run through the finals, he played an all-NBA player every round of the finals, or every round of the playoffs. First round, he played against Jokic. Jokic was an all-NBA player, won the MVP that season. Second round, Ja Morant, all NBA player. I think he was most improved that year, wasn't he? Yeah, he was most improved that year. Third round, played Luka, all NBA player, and Jalen Brunson before he left the next year to go to the New York Knicks, who's having an all-star type year this year. And then in the finals, you had what was considered the closest thing to 90s level defense and the Boston Celtics, who had a horrible start to the season, but ended their season on one of the best run to close out the season, who swept KD and Kyrie in the first round because of like people rating that defense like it was 90 levels defense. They playing the best defense we've seen since like the 90s. That's what people were saying up into the finals. And then on that team, you had the defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart, who was a point guard. And Steph averaged 29 points a game and shot a good percent, damn near shot 50, 40, 90 for the whole finals. But when you go back and look at how people look at it, they just look at it like, oh, he finally won the finals MVP. And it's like they'll rate LeBron's 2020 ring in the bubble higher than they talk about Steph's 2022 ring. And it's odd to me that like that run by Steph is so slept on because it was his first finals MVP, which should have been his second, but so many people put so much weight into his not having finals MVPs. Then when he wins one in like fantastic fashion, might I add, aside from like Game 5 was like his worst game. He had a good floor game, but he shot like 0 for 9 from 3, which people gave him all kind of shit about. Which, like, if you go back and watch that game, he made all his mid-range shots. He just couldn't hit an open three. Most of the threes was open. He just couldn't knock any of them down. But he came back in game 6, went crazy, then had the pointing at his ring finger celebration. Like, give me my fucking ring, that celebration. But nobody ever talks about that finals run. That was like a highly impressive finals run, especially for a point guard, especially for like a player his size. And it's like nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it, but they'll constantly bring up, oh, that 2016 finals run is up there. It's like one of the greatest finals. Like, no, it wasn't. He didn't play anybody up until the finals. And they put so much weight in the finals because the Golden State Warriors was 73-9, which was like an overrated finals team, if you ask me. They had one superstar player. That was it. They was just ahead of their time in the way they played. You put that 2016 team in today's NBA, they might win like 55 games. They were just ahead of the curve with the way they played basketball. But I just don't get it when people don't talk about that finals run by Steph in 2022. It's just odd to me.